Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you all so much for being here. Let me see who was here first. Ingrid Sowers, thank you so much for being here first. Hello to Lorna Williams. Connie Balmer! Hey, Connie Balmer. Um, and let me see. T Baby 35. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Noreen Bengali, Edna Richardson, thank you. Let me see who else is here. Francilia Mosley, thank you, thank you. Lydia Washington has the kaboom. Thank you so much for being here. Let me see. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and throw the kaboom up there at the top if I can. Oh, there we go. Is it up there already? Oh, you know what? That is yesterday's page I'm looking at. Okay, let me try that again. For some reason, I had it opened up on yesterday's. Oh, Lord. Okay, I wonder if I just made a mistake with that. All right. Let me try it again. Okay. All right, so what is the point of this hate campaign? I wish I knew. The thing is, you guys, this country is going through a bit of a culture war, but you already know that. Okay, let me make sure I got this right. That was 10 seconds ago. All right. Delete that. Very good. Very good. Sure enough, it was a happy day. Oh, happy day. Okay, doing a little problem solving here. All right, so I lost that one. Here we go. Let me put my slide up there. Boom. All right. Good. We're ready. All right, so I'm just going to scroll all the way to the end. Let's see who got in the room here last. All right, Annie Bullard wants to say hi to a few people. Thank you so much, Annie Bullard. All right. And let me see, Celia C. Oh, okay. Daniel Medical. Hi, Daniel Medical. And thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Wednesday to you. Gosh, I can't believe. Well, you know what? It was a holiday Monday, which always makes it seem like a Sunday, which means the week goes by very, very fast. Long weekends make for a very short work week, right? Okay. So, before we continue with that, take a look here. It was, oh gosh, what year was that? 1921. That's when this happened. Of course, this, would be Tulsa. This was the Black Wall Street, as they referred to it, that was destroyed by a lynch mob, as well as the state who brought in a militia. This was the first and only time since the Civil War that an American city had been bombed by something brand new called the, well, actually, I don't even think it was called the Air Force yet. We didn't even have an Air Force, but yet from the sky, yeah, this is the first time that had ever been an American city bombed from the sky, predating Pearl Harbor. And they did some damage, I promise you that. This community had every advantage that one could imagine. It was a self-sustaining community. And just as we often see communities within cities around the world and around the United States where you have an ethnic group that is, keeps most of their money within the community. Well, you had every type of trade and practice here that you could think of. And because they were living so well in this post World War I era, it caused a lot of jealousy. As a matter of fact, there was a great deal of that. And because of the World War, there were a lot of Black people who felt as though, all right, we didn't win and fought for your war. Now, we want the promise of the American dream. And the way you can help us is to leave us alone. Help us by not helping us. Just leave us alone and let us, do what we do. It's incredible to think that because of the prosperity of the community, that was its undoing. And then what was so bad about it is that there's no exact figures on who, or should I say, on how many people died. Of course, a lot of people never rebuilt. They left and went elsewhere. And sadly enough, in those days, um, right up until the day they died, there were a lot of people who would just never speak of these atrocities. But I showed you guys the map some time ago, and I forgot to use it today. But I have a map that shows, the atrocities, the so-called race riots, but they were actually um, more like a purge that happened to Black communities across this country, in every big city, in small towns. Most of them went unnoticed, but Tulsa is a prime example of that type of thing. So, and I also want to remind you guys this too. Um, do you guys remember what was it 2 years ago when that devil Donald Trump decided that he wants to run for president again? Well, where did he kick off the campaign? Well, at least he tried. I don't remember if he actually went, but he was trying to hold the event in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Just like when Ronald Reagan first announced he was running for president, I'm old enough to remember that he went to the same county in the same state where the Klan was established. Those things do not happen by accident, they're by design. And it's a reminder for Black people to stay in their lane, to stay in your place. These things don't just happen. But of course, you have people that would like to gaslight us in the Black community and downplay it. Or this is why I could never understand. Um, you know, I get the thing about the being a conservative, but a Black Republican, I'll never understand it, because so long as you support that party, um, there's no hidden agenda. It's in your face. And yes, 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 the Democrats this, the Democrats that. But I'll take my chances over here on the blue side rather than to uplift and celebrate someone like a Donald Trump. Money doesn't mean that much to me. There's a lot of people who say, well, I don't mind taking the money, or they won't say it, they just do it. But, you know, there was a reason why Trump chose Tulsa. And of course, he wanted to do it on the anniversary of the, of the destruction of Black Wall Street. He wanted to do it on the anniversary. That did not escape my notice. So don't forget that. Trader Joe's in trouble about what? Oh, well, let me see. Gosh, I wish I could find that map. I want to show it to you. Race riot. Aha. Nope, don't have it. Oh, but I do have this. Hold on a second. Let me show you this one then. Okay. Here's one right here. This one happened back in, there you go. This one happened back in 1919. August the 2nd, they had well, I bet it started before the 2nd, but they had a race riot that swept Chicago. And of course, 4,000 troops from the armory was brought in. Um, and there were deaths on both sides. But this one started because of an imaginary line at the beach. There are beaches in Chicago, but an African American kid crossed the imaginary line, and when he crossed that line, he was attacked by a white mob. And again, this is the post World War II era, and people were just not having it. Those soldiers, went over to Europe to fight for peace and liberty and all that kind of stuff. And that was something that just was not afforded to African Americans here in the United States. And so, for that reason, they decided they weren't going to take it. And this was also, following Birth of the Nation and the movie, of course, and a lot of things that led to these riots. But it was just the fact that in the post Civil War Jim Crow era, there were a lot of black people that were as mad as hell and were not going to take it anymore. So that is how these things happened. And can you blame them? Can you blame them? So, okay, I will. I got one more thing on that note to show you. Let me see. Oh, I know what word I'm looking for. I'm going to show you that map. Gosh, I wish I would have had it in advance. I didn't think about it till right now. Okay. Okay, let me see here. Nope, I ain't got it. All right, so can't remember what I titled it, but take a look here. So, in response to the Tulsa, oh, let me take this off the screen. Right there, 2 whites dead in race riot. They didn't even count the. Maybe I've heard numbers upwards of 1,000 black people that died, but it was hundreds at the very least. You don't even see that acknowledged in the newspaper. And this is the Tulsa, Oklahoma newspaper from Wednesday, June the 1st, 1921. And let me see, 400 million ordered. Oh, no, that's not it. Let me see. Governor acts to stop riot. As you can see, you can barely see. Soldiers disperse whites at armory when they go for equipment. So the whites were going to the armory to try to get heavy equipment to go and kill black people. And they were shooting indiscriminately. They didn't care who was hit. But the thing is, the black people were fighting back. They were very much fighting back. Arrest of a young Negro on statutory charges caused a battle between the races. Well, if you don't recall the story, the best I recall is that there was an elevator in an office building, and however it happened, an African American gentleman and a white woman was on the elevator. When the elevator opened and people saw that the two of them were on the elevator at the same time, I guess she was embarrassed or whatever, but the implication was that something had happened within those few seconds of the elevator moving. And for that reason, the guy was arrested. You heard him say statutory charges. And so when the black people said, we are going to get him out of there, because they were about to lynch him. That's how everything started. So Negroes finally driven into Little Africa, where 1,000 armed blacks are reported at bay, with more than 500 armed whites facing them opposite Frisco tracks, moved to lynch. What is that? Boot Black starts. Boot Black. What the heck? Anyway, but that is the newspaper that came out June the 1st after the riot. So just sharing that with you guys. All right, let me see who's here, and then we are going to move on to that main topic that we were starting off with today. Okay. Oh, there we go. Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex, and happy Wednesday to you. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. Elaine Babb, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Wednesday to you as well. Oh, a lot of comments. I'm gonna just try to catch up to where I left off. Okay. I heard that Trump was caught on tape bragging to people that he has confidential information. It is still that he give. Oh, really? Huh. Okay. I saw something about him being caught out some kind of way, but I never knew what it was. But thank you so much for that. Agua. Very good. I needed that. Okay. Thank you so much, Kanitha, for that update. All right. So, you guys, if you recall yesterday I was a bit distracted when I started because I had something on my mind. And at the start yesterday, kind of like about 10 minutes into it, I said, hold on, I want to look at something because I saw this tweet and I was hoping that it wasn't anything relevant. And it's still not relevant. But this is why I was so preoccupied at the start yesterday, because I saw this tweet. And one of my goals is that I do not create anxiety for people with Royal Sussex. I don't intend to do that. That is never my intention. And so there's a lot of things that I see and I just don't say anything because I don't think it's worth our collective mental health. But much to my dismay, it turns out that there was a little something to it. And of course it has increased in importance since then. Not to say that it's going to really change anything for the status of the Sussexes, but it is a thing. And just like with Scamantha, who I rarely ever mention for the sake of my own mental health, just like with Scamantha, you can always find someone, if you make enough noise, you can always find someone that will, that will help you hate another person, that will help you attack and demean another person. You always can find something like that because some people are driven by hate. And so this very bulbous head gentleman, and I started to cover up his name, but I said, no, I'm not going to do that today. I'm not going to cover up his name. His name is Niall Gardner. And as you can see, it says May 30th. Breaking news. I heard on the Heritage, oversight, whatever it is, PR, Prince Harry's immigration record case will be held in Washington, D.C. federal court in front of a U.S. federal judge at 2:30 p.m. on Tuesday, June the 6th in courtroom 17, The hearing will be open to the press. Well, that last part right there is why I decided, the hell with it, open to the press. So it is going to be likely a bit of a circus. Now, I don't think they allow cameras into the federal courts. As far as I know, I don't think they've ever let cameras into the federal courts. When you see those court programs, those are county and state courts or whatever. But the feds, especially the Supreme Court, they only allow audio, and I don't even think they allow all of that to be recorded and shared. So it is a thing. It is a thing, and they made enough noise. They probably shopped around to try to find someone who could push the situation. And from what I hear, it may be a Republican appointed judge, which that is not always a bad thing. There have been many instances. And by the way, you guys, I believe all federal judges keep their appointments for life, um, which makes it so hard to believe that they have such a long vetting process for a Supreme Court justice, seeing that they have been investigated and vetted already when they became an appellate or circuit court judge. Um, it's like they're just doing it over again. And but that's the rules, so they can do it. So they found a place to go, and so it's going to happen on the 6th of June, and Harry won't be there, of course. This is a hearing, even though the Department of Homeland Security has already said that they have better things to do. It doesn't stop you from having a hearing, and I'm even afraid that this can go as far as a hearing before Congress, because there's a Republican Congress, and if they can find someone on whatever the Judiciary Committee or something like that, or what is it, the Home in Immigration, whatever committee it is, there's so many of them. If they can find someone to, you know, do that, then that is possible. So at least I believe it is. There's so many ways that you can play around in the court system like that, as evident by Scamantha. Let me see. Oh, well, that is some good news, Black Queen. Thank you so much for sharing that. We need some good news today. And God bless you and your family. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, let me scroll here. Yeah, Joy, and more God is on his side. So let me take a look at that document. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I need to zoom in. Oh boy, that's small. What was I thinking? That was small. What was I thinking? Let me see. I can do something with that. Okay, it says in the United States District Court for the District of Columbia, so that means it's in Washington, D.C., the Heritage Foundation of whatever address that is, and of course, Mike Howell plaintiffs versus the United States Department of Homeland Security. So the president is Joseph Biden. Joe Biden's director of Homeland Security, of course, decides these policies on behalf of the president. So if it was a Republican president, it would probably be a slam dunk. They wouldn't have had to wait so long to get into court. But they made enough noise, so at the very least, the Department of Homeland Security has to give them their day in court. They're going to have their day in court. So United States Department of Homeland Security is the defendant. So Harry's not the defendant. The Department of Homeland Security are the defendants. And it says the plaintiffs of the Heritage Foundation and Mike Howell collectively plaintiffs for their complaint against defendant Department of Homeland Security, DHS, alleged on knowledge as to plaintiff on the information and belief as to all other matters as follows. This is an action under Federal Information Act, and of course, that is the Federal Information Act, to compel the production of information related to DHS decision to admit HRH, at least they got that right, Prince Harry, Charles, Albert, David, George of Wales, the Duke of Sussex, Earl of Dumbarton, the Baron of Kilkeel, and KCVO HRH, the Duke of Sussex, into the United States and allow him to remain to date. The requested information is of immense public interest. And of course, it says, see the Plaintiff's Freedom of Information Act. So this is based on their Freedom of Information Act requests that they want to bring the Department of Homeland Security. I repeat, the Department of Homeland Security will appear in court. Whether or not there will be any representation there for the Duke of Sussex, I have no idea. This is a first-time thing, as far as I know. At the very least, at the very least, when it comes to the, and by the way, maybe that was not an accident. I'm glad I did that. Little Mac, Harry won't get deported. Thank you. So yes, this is not a deportation thing. This is about how did the Homeland Security allow him to enter the United States? How did they give him a green card or whatever status? Because I don't think we know under which status he's here. People have speculated what his status may be, but we don't know. Whether or not that's a matter of public record, I'm not sure. But these decisions are made on individual basis. Like, for instance, if you're on some type of a watch list or something like that, well, then, of course, they could deny a visa for you. So, let me see. Gracie Infowabi says, my goodness, for what? For one man's visa. I cannot believe that UK press brought their shenanigans to the USA. This is an eye-opener. The connection UK press and royal family have with parties in the USA. Yeah, I was going to get to that, as a matter of fact. Let me see. Rachel Sun says, Congress has no authority. If fails in federal court, can appeal to appeals court and then Supreme Court. Supreme Court decides if it hears or not. Exactly. So this is a circuit court, and then there's the appellate court, and then there's the Supreme Court. And I'm still not sure whether or not they could ask for a congressional hearing. The Congress can always call people to explain things. And if the parties refuse to answer those questions, well, then it is contempt of the Congress, which is like being in contempt of the court. If you're compelled to be there, you're compelled to be there unless you got a really good excuse. So this could be the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning as far as this whole matter is concerned. We just don't know. But the important thing that you need to know is this is not an issue of Harry's deportation. Harry is not the one that is in the witness box for this. There's no one in the witness box. It's a hearing. That's all it is. And Harry's is not the defendant. The Department of Homeland Security is the defendant. So that means that because of the Freedom of Information Act, a department of the United States government, a department of the presidential cabinet, someone the president has, you know, put in place as the director of Homeland Security, that person, that office, that part of the executive branch of the government is being brought to court because of one person and a foundation filing a Freedom of Information Act. So, in other words, any given United States citizen could have done the same thing. You know, they just asked the question, put the request in for certain information. What they want to do is to see what Harry declared, or what answers he gave for his visa. That's it. That's what they want. Just like with the thing in Florida, all they want really is to get a hold of phone records and see who's talking to whom and about what. This is probably has very little to do with whether or not Harry is here, because in all likelihood, that's not even the question. What they want is to look at those documents. They want those documents made a public record. That's not always so easy. As a matter of fact, look at how long it took to make Donald Trump's tax records public. It took a lot. So when you consider that, then this may be much to do about nothing. And in all likelihood, I'm pretty sure it is. Little Max says, oh, that's for someone else. I'm going to just, hey, Anastasia Isabella. Yeah, he's not a criminal. He's not a criminal. And everything that he said in his book is true. And he's bringing it out right now, as our friend said. Harry's no monster. Charles, he's a monster. And Camilla, she's the wicked witch of the devil. But Harry's no monster. So, okay, so take a look here. The United States government faces court over Prince Harry's visa after drug admission. This comes after a leading immigration expert said the Duke should have been denied residency if he lied about drug use. Now, when they say leading expert, this is someone's opinion. And this is someone that this particular publication has this. As a matter of fact, I can't remember which paper this was that I got this screenshot, but it is a very anti-Sussex publication. So I believe it was, oh, wait. This was the Telegraph. As a matter of fact, this is from the Telegraph. And as we already know, the Telegraph is in cahoots with the Heritage Foundation. So, yeah. Trevor Rodney says, Baron, if Harry's days, no, he didn't take drugs on the doc. If Harry says he didn't take any drugs on the document, then that by law is grounds for deportation, guys. That's why that's what they are going this route. No. What Harry mentioned in his book was he was a teenager. And then on top of that, do you recall that Harry said that some of his memories about people and timing of things is a bit skewed? He can remember places, he can remember the physical spaces, but he made it a big point about the fact that a lot of those situations he's not clear of because he was in trauma at the time. He had suffered a traumatic loss of a parent. And at that time, he said there's a lot of things that he just cannot recall. So that right there um, may make this very difficult for anyone that's trying to make trouble for him. So I get what you're saying, but he was a kid. He was a kid. This is someone who was in grade school, high school, not grade school, high school at the time. He was in a boarding school. So it would be a big stretch. I'm just saying it's a very big stretch to try. He's not going to be deported. I'll just say that he's not going to be deported. Every time you think they can't go any lower, they prove wrong. They will live in the U.S. as long as he wants. We know Kate is not saving the royal family, but she needs an English teacher. Just everything. Oh, man. Marshall says Baron Harry's immigration papers are private for 75 years of his personal information. I'm worried about those heritage fools. I'm sorry, I'm not worried about those heritage fools. Okay, well, let me go to the next one here. All right, so I don't know what I was thinking. See how small that print is? Let me see what I can do. Lord. Okay. Okay, Lord knows I can't see that. Hold on. Oh wait. Huh. Well, that's helping. Okay. Okay. I just tried to enlarge my screen. So it says Chapter 7, Privacy and Confidentiality. Um, Section A, Privacy Act of 1974. The Privacy Act provides that federal agencies must protect against the unauthorized disclosure of personal identifiable information, or PII, that it collects, disseminates, uses, and maintains. The Privacy Act requires that personal information belonging to U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents be protected from unauthorized disclosure. Violation of these requirements may result in a civil and criminal penalties. So, because of the Privacy Act, they must maintain his privacy. If he is lawfully here, citizens and lawful permanent residents, all right? Also, Section B says fair information practice principles. Department of Homeland Security treats all persons, that is, regardless of immigration status, consistent with fair information practice principles. The fair information practice principles are a set of 8 principles that are rooted in the tenets of the Privacy Act of 1974, or the before mentioned. The principles are transparency, individual participation, purpose specification, data minimization, use limitations, data quality and integrity, security, and accountability and auditing. The table below provides a description of each principle. So that is from the Department of Homeland Security. And this is how they handle a person's privacy. Now, over to the right, it says Prince Harry will not seek U.S. permanent residency or U.S. citizenship. Now, this is from the, what is that? The National Law Review? Yeah, the National Law Review. I don't know if that's another one of those conservative things or not, but I'm just going to share what it says. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, is currently residing in Los Angeles With his wife, Meghan Markle, and son Archie, the British born Prince Harry uh, U.S. immigration status is surrounded by speculation. This does not affect Meghan or Archie as they are United States citizens. Also, Prince Harry is no longer a member of the British royal family. Okay, when I saw that part, I'm just like, but let me continue. A new report to the Times, and of course, I believe that's the London Times. I'm sorry, the Times, well, Times of London, is that what they call it? Noted that though Prince Harry is eligible for immediately to become a U.S. permanent resident and subsequently a U.S. citizen, he will not pursue permanent residency or citizenship in the United States. A royal source told the Times that the Duke has not made an application for dual citizenship, and I don't think he will apply for a green card at any point. Potential visa options. Among the many other ways in which Prince Harry can get a visa is to live and work in the United States, and lucrative options would be to have a O1 visa, a non-immigration visa for people with extraordinary abilities. That sounds like the Ginger Avenger to me. Or achievements. Again, that sounds like the Ginger Avenger to me. The O1 is often applied for by individuals who can showcase a very high level of accomplishments in their field. For Prince Harry to seek a O1 visa, um, he must be sponsored by an organization that plans to work with him and identify the fields where he excels. Initially, an O1 visa is approved for 3 years. Thereafter, it must be renewed every year. It will not be hard for Prince Harry to prove extraordinary ability given his philanthropic activities. The founding of the Invictus Games can certainly get him an O1 visa. Now, there is a lot of speculation surrounding Prince Harry's current immigration status. He has stayed too long to be a B2 visitor visa or through the electronic system for travel authorization, ESTA, through which a traveler cannot stay in the United States for more than 90 days. Additionally, there was speculation that Prince Harry would be issued a diplomatic visa, although there are no confirmed sources on this speculation. Remember, I said some time ago, I said, Harry, we don't know what his diplomatic status is, him being the son of well, at the time, the grandson of the sovereign, him being a member of the royal family. There may be something enshrined in the law that might give him a different status compared to the average person. I said that some time ago, and I still say that that could be a possibility because Harry has worked as a diplomat on behalf of the Queen in the past. He has, done that type of work. And even if the royals say, oh, he's not a diplomat, if there was some kind of way that they could give him that status, then that is a possibility. We don't know. U.S. citizenship in question. If Prince Harry decides to become a U.S. citizen, he will be forced to expressly renounce any title or order of nobility he holds before he acquires U.S. citizenship. According to the Immigration and Naturalization Act, but although the Queen has stripped Harry and Meghan of many honorary military appointments and royal patronages, they remain the Duke and Duchess of Sussex at the least, in addition to acquiring U.S. citizenship, could potentially lead to Prince Harry having to pay worldwide taxes. Okay? So I hope that was helpful to you guys. I hope that will alleviate some of this anxiety that I must admit I may um, be suffering from just a tinge of it myself. But I would say that Harry is exceptionally talented, even for a royal. And I think he has certain things that he's capable of that far exceeds any standard of the visa system. And the bottom line is, he was accepted to enter the country. And at the time, um, who was in the White House? That was Donald Trump, right? And someone within his administration, under his presidency, were the ones that allowed him into the country. And whether or not Harry has mentioned anything in his book, everybody has known about the him being branded the party prince. And so the idea that a young person may have experimented with any chemicals is nothing new. So, as I said, Harry is not on trial. This court hearing is not about his citizenship or his visa status. This is to ask the Department of Homeland Security about information that they may not or may not legally be able to share, even if someone wanted to. So it may not end, it may not begin and end that day. Who's ever pushing this obviously has some deep pockets, and well, we'll just have to see what happens. But he's not being deported. And let us recall as well, he is a property owner in the United States. He does have business interests in the United States. Let me see. Well, you know what? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I would imagine that a very shrewd attorney would have taken care of these things, but you never know. And then, as you guys have reminded me, Megan's niece is a immigration attorney. So surely they have a lot of things going for them that this may just be a kangaroo court or a Camilla and I was about to say something clever to say dog and pony show, but anyway, I don't feel like it right now. But yeah, so I would say it is much to do about nothing. All right. Don't worry about it. It's just to embarrass the Sussexes. It's to make a lot of noise, and then it will go away. Let me see here. So Niles Gardner, this is his Twitter. As you can see, he has the British and American flag. I can't remember if he has if he's British or not. I think he is. But anyway, the Heritage Foundation is a think tank. And anytime you hear think tank, that's not a good thing. A think tank is when you have a bunch of like minded people throwing a great deal of money into lobbying tactics, into well, like when they have television interviews and you see someone on the panel that it's this kind of person that you put on a panel when you have the for and against, the yin and the yang, the viewpoint, counterpoint. You always bring this type of person, and they're very good at bringing up a bunch of talking points to sow seeds of doubt and confusion just so that they could help push a narrative. So right here, and you know what, guys, I didn't even know I had this as I was going through some of my you know thousands of photos and such. I found this. I said, wait a minute, that's the same guy. And I didn't even have him labeled for this. I do now because I didn't think much of him at the time. There is a very transparent attempt by the Sussex squad and other haters of the British monarchy to damn our royal family as racist, says Dan Wooten. You think? You think? This is why I say sometimes I really have to just take a couple of days to sort things out because I didn't even know I had this. And as I'm going through, I'm like, there he is right there. So as you can see on his Twitter back on December the 1st, 2022, he decided that he would, tweet this thing with Dan Wooten. So I'm thinking I'm saving a quote from Dan Wooten, not realizing that he was already on the radar and I didn't even pay much attention to him. But that's okay. Now we know. So again, the Sussex squad always keeps our receipts. We may not be able to find them when we're looking for them, but we always keep our receipts. So, and there you can see on March the 25th, 2021, virtual event, The Crown Under Fire, why the the left's campaign to cancel the monarchy and undermine a cornerstone of Western democracy will fail. And look at who the speakers are. You got Sir Lane Duncan Smith, Camilla Easter Island Head Tomini, Associated Editor, London Telegraph, and the Royal Expert and Commentator. And of course, you got Big Head Neil Gardner and Tim Montgomery, a political commentator and founder of Conservative Home. No, is it? I'm sorry, Conservation Home. Yeah. So those are the people. I believe I actually watched a video of that particular event. Oh, thank you so much, Daniel Medical. Have a good night. And thank you for being here. Sorry about the late hour. But yeah, so I believe I watched that. So these are a bunch of like-minded right wingers. So if you have any doubts that Camilla Tominey is not just a tool of the right wing, but that she is the right wing, well, now you can see for sure that she has joined forces with a lot of sinister individuals that want nothing more to do, not only to destroy the Sussexes, but part of their goal is to help to ensure that the how do I put this? The right wing, alt-white right wing, is always in power, always in the driver's seat. Harry and Meghan is actually not just a single target. The Sussexes are part of this culture war that we have. And that's why they keep declaring everybody woke, 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 is because they want to make sure that when you see that person in an instant, you know that you're supposed to have suspicion and hostility. It is all part of the gaslighting. It's all part of the indoctrination and the mind control, is to instantly, just like now you cannot look at Pierce Morgan without thinking hoghead. I did that. You cannot look at Pierce Morgan and not think about those jowls and that big hog head. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. It's not difficult. Just like when the Sussex squad declared that someone was a big liar, now you cannot think about them without knowing that they're a big liar, right? And of course, where you find one liar, you'll find another one, and a troll to boot. that's why I always say you have to be careful what you're taking in, because they're they are, whoever controls the media can control the world as we know it. And this is why a person like a Rupert Murdoch has spent so much time accumulating so many media outlets. But the one part where they're losing control is because of the social media, which, as I warned you all, there is this attempt to try to take over the social media. And this is why the Daily Mail, among other tabloids, now they have these what do you call it, TikTok videos. That's why they're producing shorts, so that they can make sure that their messages are not lost. More people consume news away from the traditional media outlets. Most of us get the news from our social media. And sometimes when I'm listening to Constance, what's her name? Whatever, Constance. When I'm listening to her, it's so amazing to me that so many things that I have been saying for the longest time, I'm like noticing that I'm like, I said that. That's the same thing I think, and that's refreshing because I think she's brilliant. And obviously, she has the backing of a very good education. So I guess it gives me a little reassurance that someone with a fine education is saying and thinking and feeling the same things that I am. It lets me know that I'm not so far off the target, and I'm glad to know that. But don't take my word for it. Always do your own research. Don't let anybody ever lead you down a path, because you have to know these things for yourself. You have to learn and instill all these things to yourself or for yourself, so that way you can get it and have a better and more informed decision when you decide what is and is not true. So that is very important. Unfortunately, as the dumbing down of Western society has been taking place, most people reduce everything to the soundbite. It's the soundbite, the soundbite. And if you guys remember a long time ago, I said, even if you don't read the article, the headlines are just as dangerous. And I saw Constance say that about a couple weeks ago, and I'm just like, yes, 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 right? And I like I said, it's refreshing to know that there are a lot of people that see the same things that I see or that you see. It's refreshing to know that, because at least you know that you're on the right track. So um, all I can say is pay attention. Make sure you pay attention. Words do matter. Words are intent. So these are some other people that I guess will be on that same cross Atlantic flight with Prince Harry when the day comes. Ed Sheeran, pack your bags. Let me see. Who is that? Whoever that is, pack your bags. Kate Moss, pack them up. And let me see. Russell Brand, I hope you don't own property here. And Chef, what is that? Nigella Larson, bye. And Naomi Campbell, see you later. Also, Carla Davini, uh, yeah, bye. And also Rolling Stone, Mick Jagger, too bad. You had a nice gig, but it's over with. And of course, Sharon Osbourne and that hobo that she's always hanging around. I guess they got to get out of here. Everybody go. Because if you are going to set a standard by going after Prince Harry for something that happened when he was a teenager, Do you see how many other people are in trouble right now? Do you see how many other people would be in trouble? And these are just a few of the public people I'm mentioning. Um, there's so many more. There's so many more. I do believe that in most instances under the law, we're not beholden or responsible for our childhood, for our adolescence when it comes to certain legal things. So there you go. I don't think that I don't think the alleged use of Botox counts. I'm not sure, but I don't think the alleged use of Botox counts, especially now working in one of them houses. Now that might, because I have a feeling that she used to work in one of them houses, as my neighbor used to say. She looked like she worked in one of them houses. She do kind of look like she worked in one of them houses, but that's another story. Um, oh, you and Michael Miller, I got it in for her. I don't know if I ever said this, but I got it in for her. Ooh, wait, there was a time when you mentioned her name, and I would run around like I'm making a Samsonite commercial. Um, that chick used to rub me the wrong way when she was talking about President Obama's being an immigrant, and he's not a citizen, and he was, and she was, remember that thing she had with Joy Behar, and Joy said, but he showed his birth certificate. See, the reason why this is so dangerous is not in that a person is going to be deported or something like that. What makes it so dangerous is that they put you in a very defensive posture. When Barack Obama showed his um, papers, as they say, when he showed his birth certificate, there were a lot of people left in tears because it looked too much like um, slavery, where you had to show your papers to travel. It was too much. People equated that with slavery, with Jim Crow, where you had to tell the white people where you're going and why you're going. And people didn't like that. And for someone like that lady that used to work in one of them houses to sit there on television and tell Joy Behar, but the American people, does that sound familiar? The American people have a right to know. See how that sounds familiar? It sounds just like Prince Harry, right? Because the American people have a right to know. It's always what American people want to know. And it always seems to be some foreigner that is trying to tell us what we want to know. Ain't that something? So I guess it's true what they say. You can't trust people that used to work in one of them houses. Um, someone who lied about their immigration status, someone who, let me put this politely, lied about their education. Do y'all know that lady that used to work in one of them houses? She said that she graduated from university, right? However, they dropped out of the university and lied about it. As a matter of fact, it was on their website. And when people called them out on it, then all of a sudden, not only was the quote about university graduate gone, the whole darn website was gone and hasn't been seen since. Do they lie in them houses too? I think Archie Bunker used to call it a place of irre fruit. I'm telling you, that chick rubbed me the wrong way. You ain't even supposed to be here, and you worried about what Barack Obama's doing. You ain't supposed to be here, sweetie. Ain't that something? And I can't prove it, but it looked like they took a pole out of the White House. Looked like they had something looked like a utility pole that they took out of the White House and put in the back of the van. Yeah. So I guess somebody didn't want to leave their workout equipment. I'm telling you, that chick rubbed me the wrong way. I apologize for my frankness, but that chick rubbed me the wrong way. You ain't even, but the thing is, you're not supposed to be here. Why are you worried about what he doing? And you ain't even supposed to be here. You ought to be the quiet one. And also, let me remind y'all, when it comes to immigration, Trump has done more to bring in immigrants through marriage than most people have through sponsorship. So anyway, let me move on. I hate to think about her. Oh, that person there. And this person, trigger alert, trigger alert, trigger alert. Um, this just I saw this and I'm like, yeah, that's a keeper. This is the person that's lurking in the back halls of many office buildings and who knows where else, trying to figure out how do I take them down and why do I take them down. I don't know. It's just a reflex. But yeah, this person right here, this disgusting individual who is so right wing, and that's what's so bad about it is just like a Kellyanne Conway and so many other people, they never don't have an answer. She always has some response. She's very good at what she does. I'm telling you guys, that's what makes her so dangerous is she's very good at what she does. And because there's no one in the American media that calls these people out, that's because these medias are so intertwined that, you know what, guys, don't look for any special investigational journalists. You can't wait for that. If it happens, good. But Ronan and all the rest of those people, they got other things to do. They got other things to do. They're not going to take up this cause. It's up to us, or it won't happen at all. So, my advice to all of the above mentioned, a South Carolina woman, 102 years old, says the key to long life is staying out of other people's business. And that's just the fact. Annie Mae Bellin of Darlington County celebrated her 102nd birthday when asked what the secret of long life is. She said, it's about staying out of others' business. Business. They forgot the D. Business. Stay out of other people's business and you'll be okay. Unlike Pearl from 227, who was always in people's business. Remember Pearl with the coffee cup there, that was just the character. But in real life, you stay out of other people's business and maybe you'll live to 102. But if you keep putting your nose in other people's business, well, you might come up short. Or like the old people used to say in my family, shout. You might come up shout. The T is silent, shout. You might come up shout. Let me see here. Mary H says, but Prince Harry asked for security for his family The UK refused it. So they want the US people to partake in breaking up a family, taking away kids' father and a husband. Well, I want no part. Yeah, that's the very awkward part about it is what is the basis of trying to destroy a family? What is the basis of trying to destroy a family? So, oh, oh, I'm sorry. Making myself comfortable here. Cynthia Anderson says, "Hey, Baron and Squatty family. Y'all, I don't get anything done during these hours on Wednesday. Too busy watching my favorite podcast. I need an intervention." Thank you, Cynthia Henderson. I appreciate that. But hopefully, and I say this every day, but hopefully I could come on earlier because it's getting later and later every time. Look at it, it's 7:20 Central Time. Not my intention. Okay, let me see here. Now, take a look at this. This captured my imagination. We are still on the gangway. Hopefully, the airline will continue to raise prices and weed out these people. Ryan is sitting next to a huge black woman. Huh. Wonder who they're referring to. Well, let me share that with you. Let me share that with you. If you haven't seen this viral video, okay, I hope this is the right one.
I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to say anything, but I decided I want you to feel as uncomfortable as I do. And I want you to know that I saw your text messages and I think you're disgusting.
What text message?
You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to repeat it because everybody doesn't need to know, but I want you to know that I know. I saw you and I think that you're disgusting. You don't have anything to say to that, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. And speaking of, you should. And speaking of airlines weeding people out, maybe if they raise prices, maybe you wouldn't be able to afford to sit with your family. That way they don't have to sit next to black people. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, you don't have to be sorry to me. You're sorry because I saw it. But I want you to feel as uncomfortable as I do sitting next to you.
Okay, I am.
Uh-huh. You should be.
Let me do that one more time. One more time.
You know what? I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to say anything, but I decided I want you to feel as uncomfortable as I do. And I want you to know that I saw your text messages and I think you're disgusting.
What text message?
You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to repeat it because everybody doesn't need to know, but I want you to know that I know. I saw you and I think that you're disgusting. You don't have anything to say to that, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. And speaking of, you should. And speaking of airlines weeding people out, maybe if they raise prices, maybe you wouldn't be able to afford to sit with your family. That way they don't have to sit next to black people. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, you don't have to be sorry to me. You're sorry because I saw it. But I want you to feel as uncomfortable as I do sitting next to you.
Okay, I am.
Uh-huh. You should be.
So he and his family were coming back to Atlanta from, oh gosh, I think they were in Puerto Rico. And they seem to be having a conversation back and forth about them sitting next to black people. Yeah, they were having a conversation about them sitting next to black people. And it wasn't limited to just that. I don't know if you could see it, but look at the top of that text there on the left side. You see that at the very top? It says something, something gay was something, something, and huge too. So there was probably another black person that was gay or assumed to be gay. Atlanta, here we come. So that was a conversation that I guess it may have been like a group chat, and she just happened to see that. Now, she concealed his identity, but he did this while she was sitting there, and she recorded the incident it's a separate video, but she recorded that. Yeah, so Ryan is sitting next to a huge black woman. And by the way, I saw her TikTok. I don't think they were referring to her being the huge black woman. She's really not that large. And if you could see another angle of it, she doesn't have anything drifting over. As a matter of fact, he's probably chubbier than she is. So, but yeah, so she called him out. It was, when I saw this, I thought, I don't know what I thought. I thought it was like a coworker or something, but I didn't realize that she had actually recorded the him texting back and forth. So let me see here. I'm guessing his text was in the blue, maybe. So yeah, but yeah, it looks like a group chat. It looks like a family of them were on a flight and they weren't able to sit together or sit where they desired. And so she called him out. Donald Black says the Heritage Foundation is hoping to get Prince Harry deported, but they're also trying to take Biden down. But when Prince Harry and Meghan come to the USA, Trump, well, yeah, exactly. It was someone in the Trump administration that was the head of the Department of Homeland Security. So this, of course, is in response to Harry's book. They went through the book with a fine-tooth comb and tried to figure out something that they could go after him for. And of course, too, this is probably a punishment for the book. So yeah, anyway, that is, her name is Talia, the creator. And let me tell you, Talia's no punk when it comes to travel. One of the photos that she had lets you know that she is a very well-traveled person. And anyway, let me see here. Oh yeah, I don't think I have that photo here, but there's a photo I recognize in the background that she was in Petra, which is that like facade of a ancient structure carved into the stone. Gosh, I forget which nation that's in, but is it in Syria, Petra? But anyway, she's even been there, so she's very well traveled, and so she's not from here or there, and she knows what she means and what she wants to say, and she just said it. So there you go. Well, let me see here. If his face was shown, he would be crying and making all kinds of statements about his black friend, allegedly. Yeah, well, you know what, Olivia Harris? I am more than certain that somebody is going to out him. I'm more than certain that that will happen. Yeah, but we'll see. Okay, so he can't stay away. James Corden makes a pit stop at Prince Harry's Montecito estate before dining with his family as he returns to the U.S. for a visit just weeks after quitting Hollywood to move back to the U.K. So this is another one that I kind of struggled with, but I'm going to show you why I thought this was important to share. Take a look here. Here. You can see there's the usual suspects. I don't think they've learned their lesson. Do you? Backgrid were the ones that took those photos, or some of the people responsible for those photos in New York City. Do you mean to tell me after all of that, you're still sitting outside of the Sussex household? Now, I believe they live in a gated community and that one would have to, get entrance to that gated community. But as you can see at the bottom of the photos, which were used in the Daily Mail, that grid again. And James Corden, according to the article, went to the Sussexes before he went and met his wife for lunch. Now, if that was anybody that had never experienced something like this before, tell me this would not creep you out. That you, obviously, James Corden, well, from the photo, either he is deliberately not paying attention to the person with the camera who's likely in a utility truck or SUV or something with tinted windows. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, so they are literally sitting outside of this gated community, monitoring who's coming and going. It makes me wish I had the house next door. I would literally put a driveway through my property to theirs if it would help. Yeah. What's that, Donna Black? I've been following this biracial guy on Twitter. He's half black like Megan, and this man has been giving the white supremacists more than they can handle about Megan. Good. Good. Glad to hear that. So, yeah, they are still up to their same tricks. They seem to have been camped outside of the stately, palatial, opulent, picturesque Sussex Manor. Now, moving on from that, Harry just brought looks like a cocktail to the gentleman at the in the control room of the James Corden show. We don't know when this was taken or filmed, but this is Harry in the back of the shop, so to speak, at the James Corden show. As a matter of fact, he was just there hanging out. Now, we don't know when that was recorded, though. This was part of a promo or preview or something like that that was posted. So it's just, I don't even think Harry says anything in the clip. But yeah, so that is circulating around. Split second here, split second there. Okay, YouTube partner with Prince William's Earthshot Prize to raise awareness of climate solutions. Did that work out the first time? First, he started a YouTube channel. Now he wants to partner with YouTube. How do you let a person know that we're just not that into you? This whole thing about the environment is very admirable, I'm sure. But if he really wanted to make an impact, and for political reasons, not to mention dumb, I don't think that they're going to do it. But food banks need food. They need fundraisers. As a matter of fact, why don't you have something to do with maintaining the power in people's homes, fuel in people's homes, and also to help people eat? Help people eat and stay warm in the winter and cool in the summer, and you got something. Although the summers aren't awful most times, but it's the wintertime that people die. But instead, he wants to focus on some very abstract things. if Earthshot really wants to do something for the climate and for the environment, how about take on the water department, the waterworks, or whoever it is, the people that are flooding the beaches, the shores around the UK because they're throwing raw sewage into the rivers that are flowing out into the ocean. Why don't you do something about that? There's so many other things that he could be talking about, but he wants to do something that's very safe and very easy. He doesn't really have to do anything. It's not like he's out there picking up trash. He doesn't have an information campaign telling people to, travel less by car and any. He's not doing it. Is so much more that could be done. Harry's already got it covered with Travelers. Travelers is going to eclipse this in so many ways we can't even calculate it. I promise you. Travelers is more user friendly, hands on, something everybody will touch day after day. But this is so abstract and so unnecessary for someone in his position to focus on. Sure, talk about the environment, but you need to do something else too. So, right here, I just want to remind you guys about something. I didn't see this article until yesterday, but as you can see, when did this article come out? This was prior to their visit to Boston. Beatlemania? That's what caught my eye. Beatlemania 2.0. Americans to sleep on streets as Kate and William visit sparks frenzy. I'm like, who would say something as stupid as that? Who thought that was going? Who's sleeping on the streets? I'm trying to think. Aside from a concert, when do Americans sleep on the street? Beatlemania? Beatlemania 2.0? Americans to sleep on streets as Kate and William, dull and duller, frickin' frack, Workshop Will, and Weighty Katie, two of the laziest individuals that have ever drawn a breath, to visit sparks of frenzy. Did they not see the tour of the Caribbean where William lost half the Commonwealth? Instead of coming back with a renewed sense of dedication and commitment from the people of the Caribbean, instead of coming back with a sense of purpose, a new popularity for the royal family, he comes back owing money. So I don't understand how they thought and that people were going to be so excited by the visit of those two that people were literally going to sleep on the streets. This is the couple that probably helped to hasten the end of the Queen's life, because, as they say, the Commonwealth was the most important thing to the Queen. So I can't help but think that Her Majesty must have been devastated that her precious Commonwealth was being unraveled before her eyes, just as she's taken a turn for the worse.
Prince, Trenchtown wants $245 billion. That's what Trenchtown wants. $345 billion. Yes, thank you.
This man comes back with a bill for not 300, but $335 billion.
Yes, sir. That's what Trenchtown wants. Yes. What do you mean?
300. Listen to me now. $335 billion. So I don't know how he's going to save the planet if he couldn't save the Commonwealth. So Kate, the Duchess of Cambridge, and Prince William will create mania when they visit the United States as the Cambridge's new opportunity across the pond. U.S. royal commentator Kinsey Schofield. That's who. You remember I just said, now who thought of something like that? No wonder. Kinsey Schofield. That's who. Kinsey Schofield said there would be lots of excitement and press coverage if the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge were to focus their time stateside. Now home to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, she said people would sleep in the streets for a simple wave. Yeah, people are going to sleep on the streets for a chance to have a wave at the Cambridges, or for them to wave at. Come on, y'all. Come on. Who makes up this stuff? Kinsey Schofield. Cassie Lee, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. After the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebration created fresh interest in the royal couple and their children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, Miss Schofield, founder of ToDieForDaily.com, really? And author of the book R is for Revenge Dress, told Express.com UK, the Queen's Platinum Jubilee really inspired a fresh interest in the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and their children. Well, if y'all remember, the excitement for the Jubilee was eclipsed by the hostility that came when the Queen died and people started talking about reparations and blood diamonds. Well, hard to believe that happened. Was that the same year? God, I think that was the same year, wasn't it? Yeah. So anyway, America is very interested and excited about Prince William and Catherine. I think it will be a Beatlemania 2.0 when they visit again. Wah, wah. Wah, wah. Anyway, William is keen. There's a keen word. Keen for his work to be seen and to have impact outside of the UK and the royal bubble, a source tells me. The charitable landscape in America is huge, and he wants to have a presence. What is it? Seeley Oatness, a U.S. professor of marketing specializing in how the firm brands itself, previously told Express.com UK how Americans see Kate and William as the future of the royal brand, which is not the case for Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. She said, I think I can safely say that if they come, there will be no doubt they will be received warmly. And there will be lots of press coverage. Go on now. Come on now. Go away from here. The crowds were, crowds were allowed accompanying their visit. People understand them as the future of the royal brand, and that's certainly not the case for, I think I put that twice, did I? Okay. But anyway, we all know, what's her name? Kinsey Schofield. A matter of fact, Kinsey actually blocked me on Twitter. I never made any reference to her, but I guess she must have saw something on my page and thought, nah, I don't think I want that person to see my stuff. So anyway, Kinsey Schofield blocked me. Now, I just want you guys to know I am not insulted or disappointed in any way that somebody who I consider the second coming of Tammy Faye, somebody who must have bought Tammy Faye's makeup case from a thrift store. Um, I'm not worried about what she thinks about me. I certainly don't care what she has to say about the Cambridges because she doesn't know what she's talking about. She just makes up stuff as she goes along, and she tells the GB News what they want to hear. When I looked at her and I kept thinking, who does she remind me of? Where have I? Oh, Tammy Faye. Yes. Yeah, so there she is, the Tammy Faye lookalike contest contestant. Um, oh, let me see. What did she say there? I'm going to tell you something you don't want to hear. In the States, the conversation is Harry and Meghan need to apologize and they need to move back to the UK, said LA-based royal expert Kinsey Schofield. How is this woman a royal expert? She's American. She's based out of Hollywood, as they say. That's the only credential she has, is that she'll tell them everything they want to hear. She acts like she's on that stuff. I'm not saying she's on that stuff, but she just acts like it. She act like she on that stuff. And yeah, that's it. She's in LA and she's very hyper. That's what I mean by she act like she's on that stuff. Very hyper, and she's good at making up stuff. And that qualifies her as a royal expert. Other than that, she has absolutely no credentials. She don't know anything more. As a matter of fact, she knows less than the average squatty about anything. So what a disaster. What a disaster. I tell you, mother of Tammy Faye Baker, what is she up to? And of course, a lot of hoopla. Not all Bostonians starstruck by Prince William and Princess Catherine. Do you guys remember that? Well, they came, they sought, and they were ignored. They were ignored. People were like, who? Who? And they were trying to get people hyped up and everything, but it just did not work. People were not interested in the fact that they were here. A lot of people were not aware that they were here. It was like a big fat nothing burger. So I never heard the Beatles 2.0, but I did hear that it was supposed to be, what did they say? It was going to be the Super Bowl like event, that this was supposed to be like a Super Bowl type of event. Well, I tell you what, it wasn't even a soup spoon. It wasn't nothing super about it. It was a big sleeper. People complained about it over in the UK. They said most people switched it off in the first few minutes, especially when they found out that the people that were supposed to receive the prizes were not even invited. How stupid can you be? You have money to give out. You want to award people. You want to look important, but you don't have the guest of honor. They had to stay in their country because of the carbon emissions. But you can fly the entertainers, right? You can fly, what's his name, Beckham, have him come from the Middle East on a private jet and go all the way back again just so that you can have a big name at your event. That was a stroke of genius, right? Right. Well, I guess so, because I'm sure most people didn't notice, but of course the squad called them out. The squad always calls them out. So yeah, it was much to do about nothing. They made that big fuss, and we all know how it turned out. It didn't. And they were totally embarrassed. It rained terribly. If y'all think the rain on Coronation Day was something, Boston was a big, sloppy mess through and through. This whole thing was a disaster. Kate looked like some type of, she looked like a mannequin or something. She had on too much makeup. Her face was all shiny. And then she had on that green screen dress. I mean, it was just a mess. It was worse than the one they had in the UK. It was worse than that. It was a disaster. Do you hear me? A disaster. It was a failure. The whole thing was punctuated by two of the dullest people that has ever drawn a breath. Nobody was interested and nobody cared. So, um, can't wait to see the next one. As a matter of fact, when the next one comes out, won't most people be asleep in the Western Hemisphere? When the next one happens, they're going to be over where, in Malaysia or someplace. Most people are going to be sleeping. I just, they're going over there for the royal treatment. That's why they're going, is because they want to go someplace where people will be impressed to see them. Well, buckle your seatbelt, because I don't suspect that that is going to work out either. But we'll see. We'll see. What a monumental waste of time, a waste of effort, and a waste of uh, I was, you know what? I was going to say potential, but they have no potential. Reba Henderson says Kinsey Schofield never had a chance in hell to get Harry. She is a delusional psycho who clout chases because she has no life. Lying witch. Oh, that was good. That was good. Marshall says the Earth Flop night, Kate was all up in Beckham, all up on Beckham rather. She was hanging, I'm sorry, she was hugging him, and he was holding his hand off her uncomfortable, like neon green dress was sticky. Look at how shiny her face is. When I saw her, I just wanted to like blot her with a paper towel. I seriously, I kept getting the urge to take a paper towel and just kind of blot her face, because I mean she was shiny as a new nickel for some reason. I don't know why. And you see that little character up there at the top. Somebody posted that on the Twitter at the time. God, that was so funny. It's actually a one of those gifs or whatever, and it kind of does that walk, and it walks just like Kate. I screamed when I saw that. And then here, I this is when I knew that things were going to go south. When they stepped off that plane, and they took a commercial jet because of the occasion. They didn't want any criticism, so they took a commercial jet. And she steps off the plane looking like Chairman Mao. I said, you know what? I'm through. I'm through. This girl then stepped off the plane looking like Chairman Mao. And then, of course, when I Googled Chairman Mao's suit, I found one identical to what she was wearing. This girl literally went on to Google and said, I want to look like I'm more in touch with the public. And she found the Chairman Mao. So, yep. So if you want to look like Kate, just remember, Google Chairman Mao. Mao Tse-song, and you too can dress just like the Princess of Wales. Prince William and Kate didn't get the rave reviews they were hoping for in America. You think? British royal family news suggests that it might be a very long time before Prince William and Kate Middleton return to America again. That's because the Prince and Princess of Wales really didn't get the kind of rave reviews they were hoping for during their 3-day visit to Boston. In fact, it seemed like most Americans really didn't even care that they were there in the first place. Here's what you need to know. Well, to put it lightly, yeah, most people didn't know and didn't care. I remember they were going around asking people in Boston, and they were just like, ugh. They got booed at the basketball game. They were literally booed at the basketball game. And of course, they wanted to blame the Sussexes for that. So, okay. And then what about this? Bostonians take the Royal Whirlwind visit. Bostonians take on the Royals that's a tongue twister. Whirlwind visit, whatever. That's because they didn't care. Whatever. And that was the article from the New York Times. Whatever. As breathless online commentaries track the royal couple's every move during their visit, swaths of their host city remains unimpressed. Thank you, New York Times. And then over here, remember they got stood up by Carolyn Kennedy and by John Kerry. Carolyn Kennedy and John Kerry were both no-shows. Carolyn Kennedy finally decided to, while she was out doing her run for the day, she finally decided to stop over and say hi while she was out jogging. She was out jogging. She was jogging and she was like, oh, you know what? I forgot I have a thing. And she felt sorry for him and went over there. And John Kerry claimed that he had the pandemic. And in spite of that, he was still able to go and see them the next day. So, they were trying to get themselves some big names. So Joe Biden actually was in town for something else and spent about 5 minutes with Egghead standing on the pier or whatever. But they took some photos outside and shook hands, and then Joe was like, okay, see you. So it was very unimpressive. And I guess they thought people were going to go on and on about that green gown, but instead it was the butt of the joke. Everybody laughed. It was just, and people put images on top of the dress. Not exactly what they were looking for, but it was horrible. It was a disaster. They managed to round up some royalists at some event. They were standing outside, and even that crowd wasn't much to look at. The only thing that comes close to it, but not as worse, was when they had the first Earth flop when he showed up looking like a bottle of Mitchum deodorant. That was a smooth one, right? He showed up looking like a bottle of Mitchum. She had on her little house on the prairie dress. They just don't get it. They just don't get it. What a couple of misfits. But you know what? They deserve each other. They really do deserve each other. Now, here's a little history that I found. As you know, I like to share certain things. This is the artist. Her name is Selma Burke. Selma Burke created a relief. She's an artist, a sculptor, and she created this for one of the government offices, right? And people thought, well, you know what? Why don't we have her design the dime? And of course, she lost out to someone who worked for the Treasury Department, and his name is John Sinnock. John Sinnock, once his image of Franklin Roosevelt came out, a lot of people immediately said, wait a minute, that is actually Selma Burke's work. And he denied it. He said that wasn't the truth. But the rest of his life, he was plagued with people accusing him of having stolen her work. Now, of course, she and a few other prominent African Americans at the time suggested that they would have the FBI look into it. But as you know, back in those days, the 1940s, post-war 1940s, the FBI was not interested into investigating something that a black woman said, so it didn't go much further. Um, and I think at the time, would that have been J. Edgar Hoover? Wasn't Hoover director of the FBI at the time? Well, anyway, I guess sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But let me tell you this, though. This guy spent the rest of his life having people accusing him of being a thief. And when I say the rest of his life, I don't mean he had much of it. He was born in 1888 and died in 1947, age 58. As you can see, Burke, with her portrait of Booker T. Washington she's working on, she was born in 1900 and died in 1995, age 94. So one of the things that you always want to do is to outlive your enemies. It's very important. So she had a very long and successful life, whereas he, some little bureaucrat from the Department of the Treasury, well, I think he dropped dead almost as soon as he got through line. So there you go. But anytime you see the dime, just realize it was actually the image of Franklin Roosevelt that was designed by this African American woman, Selma Burke. And this is the image that she created. I think it was for the Department of the Interior, or where it was to go over a doorway in one of the government office buildings. And as you can see, yeah, he stole it. He stole it. And it even has the quote from Franklin Roosevelt: freedom from want, freedom from, what is that? Freedom from fear, freedom of worship, and freedom of speech. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Have the Osbournes given up on the U.S.? Sharon is spotted moving baby furniture out of her L.A. home months after frail rocker Ozzy said he doesn't want to die in crazy America. Bye. Bye. See y'all. Bye. Okay, now what? I'm pretty sure part of it has to do with the fact that, remember when Piers Morgan said, it's not Sharon Osbourne looking for work, there's work looking for Sharon Osbourne. There's work looking for Sharon Osbourne. Sharon Osbourne's time on American television is over. Okay, over. She's done. She's done. She had a really nice run at it, especially when she got on the talk, because, you know, all she had to do was to sit there and pretend like she wasn't the kind of person that she really is. And because she was afraid that she was going to get exposed as the kind of person that she really is, she panicked and accused them of accusing her of being the R word. Now, they didn't say it. She didn't say it. But yet, for some reason, remember how she told her, don't you dare cry. You better not cry. Don't you dare cry. Remember that? Don't you dare cry. And all she was trying to do was to have a conversation with her. She never accused. This is what I don't understand. How do you fire yourself? First, Piers Morgan fired himself, and then they sat up on the phone all night talking about what happened to him. And of course, because she's a friend of his, she shows up for work. And before anybody can even say hi, don't you dare cry. You better not cry. Don't you dare cry. They hadn't even said nothing to her. This is why she looked so shocked, because she hadn't even said anything. All they did was say, well, isn't that something about what happened to Pierce Morgan? What are you trying to say? And next thing you know, she was out of a job. And then Pierce Morgan tried to be the hero and try to talk all that stuff about how talented she is and how she's going to be back on television. Well, aside from the occasional guest spot, we haven't seen much of her, have we? So, so long, Sharon Osbourne. I hope you are moving, and please don't come back. Now, Hillary Clinton, y'all know I love me some HRC. Sometimes Hillary is she acting just as girly. I mean, she acting like she just discovered men. I mean, look at Hillary just blushing and smiling and grinning from ear to ear. I don't doubt she likes them tall, but come on, that is the king of Spain. King Philippe of Spain invited Hillary to the whatever castle or palace, and she went to go and greet him. And next thing you know, she just smiling and grinning and throwing her hair back and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, Hillary, you're embarrassing me. But what's so funny? Look at that tapestry on the wall behind them. You guys see the tapestry? Even one of the characters on the tapestry is looking like, Hillary, what you doing? Hey. So anyway, Secretary Hillary Clinton, the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, seems to, I don't know, maybe it's the accent or something, but whatever it is, she seems to be a bit excited, huh? Yeah, I'm embarrassed and just blushing. So I thought this was very, very sweet. As a young Black girl playing the role of Dorothy in 7-time Tony Award winning Broadway play, The Wiz, I know what this baby, Haley Bailey, has been dealing with. I got so much hate mail. I was told Julie Garland is turning over in her grave, all because a little Black girl was playing the role that was once played by a white girl. It's sad to see that the same thing is happening to this beautiful, talented, smart, and intelligent actress, Haley. God put you in this place and time, so let your light shine. Hold your head up high, walk in your peace, and celebrate the greatness that you are. They told me I would never make it on Broadway. They told me I couldn't sing. They told me I was too dark. I have watched and listened to they try to tell you why you shouldn't and couldn't. Well, this weekend, your movie comes out. I'm so proud of you and how you handled all the naysayers. We have never met, however, I have been in your shoes. Baby girl, let them know that this little mermaid is made of Teflon. Let's make sure we support the Little Mermaid this weekend. Chloe and Haley Bailey, Black Girl Magic. Love, Auntie Stephanie Mills. Auntie SM, Stephanie Mills. Now that was absolutely lovely. So The Wiz, I was reading a bit about The Wiz, and when it first came out, a lot of people hated it because The Wiz is based on The Wizard of Oz, a very sacred movie to some people. Oprah said The Wizard of Oz is one of her favorite movies. It has a message about triumph and about knowing yourself, about using your power that has resonated with a lot of people. And so when The Wiz came out, it was this very, very ethnic, very jazzy. It really speaks to Black people. And as I got older, I realized that so much of the storyline that went over my head when I was a kid, I was like, wow, so that's what that is. Oh, that's what they were talking about. And even with that being as clever as it was, the music is phenomenal. But there were a lot of people who had it in for the for the Wiz, and they wanted it to die a very painful death on Broadway. However, if I recall, I think Stephanie Mills' father or somebody was a pastor or something important in church, and also the guy who wrote or produced or whatever also comes from the Black church. And between the two of them, they had busloads of African Americans pouring into that theater day after day after day. And they filled those seats. And after a while, the critics were unable to ignore the 7-time Tony Award winning Wiz. So when Stephanie Mills says, don't give in to the naysayers, or don't let those people tell you what you can't and ain't able to do, she knows what she's talking about. She was the wrong shade of Black. She couldn't sing. She was this and she was that. All of that they said that was supposed to exclude her from being on Broadway. And then, of course, having an all Black cast was also an issue. So great was it that eventually Motown and who was it, Sidney Lumet and all those people, they turned it into a major motion picture. Now, I think as a major motion picture, it was like I watched The Wiz so many times that I could sit there and I could say the lines right along with the characters. I knew all the songs. I knew everything about that movie. I have a copy of it. I still have an LP. I have an LP of The Wiz. It even has a list of t-shirts and hats and stuff that you could buy that came with it. It's an original copy of the album on vinyl. I still have it. So that was my movie there, The Wiz. So I love the fact that Stephanie Mills reached out to this young lady and spoke to her with a voice that only someone who has walked in those shoes, whether they're silver slippers, ruby slippers, or whatever they are, only someone who's been in that situation could know. And at what time, when did that play came out in the 1970s? What, some 50 years ago, almost 50 years ago? And we're still having this conversation about somebody Black playing in these very traditional white roles. We're still doing that. Isn't that what they did to Leontine Price on Broadway? Isn't that what they're still doing in Hollywood? They don't want you to play historic figures. They can cast somebody who is not even, of that nationality, fine. But there are certain figures in history that for sure we don't know what their DNA is. We don't know what their ethnicity is because they whitewash them. All throughout history, the Black contributions have been whitewashed out of people's memories, or at least they try. So thank you, Stephanie Mills, for reaching out to her in a way that only someone of your caliber could do. And then take a look at this. Local mothers raise money for little girls to see Little Mermaid. Representation really matters, whether you're black, white, whoever it matters, Eva Kyle said. So here in Knoxville, Tennessee, Disney, The Little Mermaid live action remake is making a splash in theaters. I think they were able to buy like 100 tickets, and these little girls are just like so excited to see themselves represented on the big screen, being seen in a positive light. And because it is a Disney character, because it is make believe, who cares who plays the part? And here's something that I'm sure a lot of African American women can relate to, or African descent women everywhere. Y'all know they spent about $500,000 on her hair. They spent about $500,000 on her hair, and maybe even more than that. But they did all kind of studies and mixing of textures. They needed hair that could lift and separate above ground, underwater, here, there, and everywhere. They spent a lot of money on her hair. Well, I would say that is very interesting, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of African American women understand the idea that you have to have a hair budget. So, but yeah, they spent a good heap of money on their hair. So, but yeah, the hate campaign against this movie is shocking, especially, and it's a bit of misogyny, but mostly it's because it depicts a black woman. Let's just say it, because it depicts a black woman, and we didn't see this kind of backlash with a movie like the Black Panther. We didn't see this kind of backlash with the Black Panther. But because it's a woman of African descent, therein lies the problem. That is what seems to be what's defined this as troublesome to some people. So there you go. And if you guys can go. As a matter of fact, as I said, I am going to have to do a late night run because all that energy from them kids is just a little bit too much for me. But I would prefer the last run of the day because it ain't that I don't like kids. It's just that energy. That's a little bit too much for me. So, yeah, that's a lot. Oh man. So anyway, let me see here. The Daily Mirror, just to remind you guys that Harry is going to be back in court next week. And of course, how interesting that this visit to court now coincides with a court hearing in Washington, D.C. About, Harry's green card status or whatever they're trying to say. So that's coming. That's coming. So just so you guys know. But yeah, so that's it for today. Thank you guys for staying up so late with me. Really appreciate it. Oh my goodness. 2.5 hours. Well, 2 hours, 10 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. Well, now the current Black Panther is kind of baked in as a character either way. But that first movie, they didn't make much of a fuss about Black Panther. And I think because, it featured a male lead. But this movie, it seems to, Disney, Marvel, they are doing colorblind casting. And that is not without its risk because of these incidents of backlash, rather, But you would have thought that Black Panther would have got more pushback because of his anti um, colonizer rhetoric and such. But no, they didn't seem to mind that one so much. But this one, you're getting a lot of pushback, and I can't help but think it's because another Black woman doesn't seem to know her place, and we have to make sure that we, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that Megyn Kelly person hasn't said anything about it. Remember, she said Santa Claus is white. That's that. Oh man. So anyway, well, yes, thank you guys. Remember, the movie is in the theaters right now. So if you get a chance, please go and see it, because as Dr. Shola was saying, the ignorance here is appalling. Black people also have natural red hair. Just say you're mad Ariel is Black. Caucasity is thinking mermaids are a white creation. Again, it is a kids movie. It's a fantasy. And so what difference does it make? Right? Who gave DNA tests to the first Ariel? All right. So anyway, thank you very much, you guys. Also, let us not forget our queens. Our queen in heaven that's watching over everything, I'm sure, and our queen of everything in California, who is the very rock of the Sussex family. So, and thank you to the moderators for keeping this a safe space as per usual. And also, thank you all for your very generous and thoughtful contributions. And don't forget, there is still the Kaboom. I didn't get a chance to save it today. It kind of slipped past me again. But don't forget about the Kaboom. That is, I believe it ends on the 4th, right? On Lily's birthday. So Lily's birthday is the 4th of June. So it's just days away, not even a week, just days away. And right now, I believe it's 89,000. 90K, yes, close to 90K. So there you go. Oh, there we go. Let me see if I can catch it this time. I'll put that at the top of the chat. There we go. At the top of the chat, you can find the Kaboom. All right, you guys, thank you very much. Love you guys. See you all tomorrow. I am going to close out with the last word. And the last word is good night, everyone. Thank you so much, Terry H. How profound was that? Let me see. Oh, no. Lucy Wynn says, thank you, Baron. I stopped baking to listen, and now I will be up late to finish 2 more cakes. Oh, wow. That sounds good. Oh, you guys, I have been doing so well at giving up sweets. You have no idea. My body went into withdrawal, and I could not stop peeing for about a week. That was all those toxins leaving my system. So now I'm not even craving the sweets, which is rare for me, because I'm telling you, I had to have my fix in the house at all times. But pretty much I have settled for fruit and yogurt when I get the occasional sweet tooth. So, but yes, okay. So I'm going to cue the Ginger Avenger. Thank you very much. And I will see you all tomorrow. And as usual, hopefully earlier rather than later. Ooh, I slept good last night. Boy, did I sleep good. Oh, I see you ready to go to war, huh? Well, I wouldn't recommend it, but I understand. But oh my goodness. Yeah, it is yeah, you guys try not to worry about that. The enemy wants to undermine our confidence, and they're trying to tear the Sussex squad apart because we have receipts and we make enough noise. We don't have $1 million budget, but we have God on our sides. So I will take that over any budget any day. Yeah, and Harry's not going to renounce his title and all that kind of stuff. I mean, Harry has a birthright, and even though he wants to escape the system and he wants to help to reform his family and the system that he, escaped, I would not make anything easy for my enemies. I just don't believe in doing that. I don't. I'm kind of hard head, and it takes a lot for me to give in. I prefer to stand my ground as a matter of principle. And Harry impressed me as a man of principle. So, yeah, I understand. So hopefully everybody in the family is in agreement and that, they can pursue whatever course that they have decided. So try not to worry. It's just a hearing. It's not a question of his status. It's just they're trying to do some digging so they could try to unearth some dirt that they can use against them for probably a variety of reasons and against other people. A way to embarrass Joe Biden before the election. It serves a lot of purposes. But yeah, the truth is on our side, and it's going to be okay. I'm sure of it. I am very sure of it. Okay, see you guys. Good night.